Salute, salute. Welcome everybody, man. Man, I'm tired, man. Another one of these complaining days. Yeah, we in the grunt and groan mode. It's your boy Cross. I want to say salute to everybody. It's late night. I'm tired, but guess what? It's grunt and groan. I got my coffee right here, and we're gonna get started, man. One of the things we're gonna do, but I got a special guest. I got my guy, Ja Muhammad. Salute to Ja Muhammad in the building.
Peace and blessings to everyone. But don't forget, be grateful for your blessings, but it's no problem with grunting and groaning when you're grown. You hear me?
Come on, man. Come on, man. See, that's what they don't understand. We in this grunt and groan. We just talking about again. Grunt and groan. I created this because to me, this channel solidifies, us in our old age. A lot of times we complain and we get it a lot. Ja is good for telling us, hey, man, these young generations, that's them. We don't understand them. So I done got to the point I done realized maybe I don't understand them. And maybe I just want to understand me and the people, us growing up around each other. So from that note, what I done figured out is, you know what? I'm going to create a channel, not to complain. It ain't listen, y'all, it ain't my job to complain, but it's my job to tell you, from our perspective, old folks, because young folks don't look at it like we look at it. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Y'all see the banner going across. I know this a upload. I know y'all gonna have something to say. Please put your stuff in the comments. Please subscribe to the Grunt and Groan channel. This is the channel. This is the channel where we're gonna be talking about different stuff. We're gonna have people on here uploading. I'm gonna do interviews. We're gonna do a lot of things. But what we are gonna do is keep it real and keep it old. Yeah, we're gonna keep it real
Totally.
and keep it just what we know is old. Yeah, I'm okay with
Keep it
being
real
old.
and keep
One of the
it
things I heard
grown.
of old. Keep it grown. One thing I heard about somebody told me one day, I never forget. It was a guy that says, hey, man, if you want to be gangster, learn how to outlive me. And this was an old guy. And I never understood it till I got older. That's the most gangster thing you could tell somebody to be a gangster. Outlive another gangster.
You are.
So we're going to go ahead and get into
That's
this.
part about
I
being
appreciate.
grown, man.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to get into this right now. I want to go ahead and break this down to everybody. So this was in 2010, right? So this thing right here, which it really bothered me, was a woman that had two kids. And this woman who had two kids messed around and lost her life, and her kids lost her life. This was in Florida. I'll let them go in detail of who she is, who the child's father was, and the kids as well. And then we're going to have some questions and stuff to that. So let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, we're not going to be on long, but I appreciate Ja for coming on. So let's get at it, y'all.
In Florida in 2000. Hey Cross and panel. Hello and welcome to another Grunt and Groan. This story took place in Florida in 2010. The city of Tallahassee in Florida was left petrified when authorities discovered Brandy Peters and her 3 children brutally murdered in their Saddle Creek Run home. The crime of unimaginable brutality left even the most hardened of police officials quite shaken as the community struggled to accept why anyone would hurt a loving mother and 3 innocent children. Brandy Peters was a loving mother of 3 who was quite close to her loved ones. Her children, 6-year-old twins Tamaya and Tanaya Peters, as well as 3-year-old Javante Segura, were the apple of her eye, and she was ready to put their needs and wants before everything else. Described as someone kind-hearted, generous, and lively, Brandy was adored by her community and is missed to this very day. One of Brandy's neighbors called her up on November 20, 2010, but was left concerned when the mother of 3 did not pick up the phone. There were blood splatters all over, and it looked like someone went on an enraged, frenzied murder spree. While Brandy and Tamaya were shot to death, Tanaya and Javante were drowned. However, the bodies of all 3 kids were found in a bathtub while their mother lay nearby.
So I'm gonna stop right there, right? So this situation is about this woman, all right? The guy that you see in this video it's allegedly one of the kids' father. Now they're gonna go into it. He actually owed $20,000 in back child support. Whatever. That's what they say, right? So my thing is, um, I know you don't got that much information, John, but okay, so far we know what the mother was gone, and then the babies were gone. The mother was found close to the babies, and the other babies was laid on top of each other in the tub, right?
Right.
Okay, I'll just make sure we're
And
on the same. Go ahead, go ahead.
I,
No, go ahead.
yeah, I see two possible scenarios. However, the more the information, the better the inclination. So,
Already.
our inclination thought to be clear once we get a little bit more info. But I'm still stuck on the emotional horror of the 3 children and a woman. Man,
Facts.
that's ruthless, bro.
And that's what I'm
That's
saying.
ruthless.
Like, I mean, like to the point of, and you hear a lot of times, and you watch those detective movies and those CSIs and all that other Discovery stuff,
Right.
HLNs and things of that nature. Shout out to them for bringing news. But my thing to you is, do you consider that beyond? And it's just my opinion. Do you consider that beyond a crime of passion?
Yeah.
To me,
Like I
it's
said,
crime of passion because you hear a lot of it. Like when you see somebody who something tragic lose their life, they can tell by the abuse or what happened to that person. Man, that was a crime of passion. But when you include other kids, to me, I guess I'm looking at it different. How is that considered a crime of passion? Because you invoked other people.
yeah, crime of passion in this instance, according to that description, it's rapidly illogical.
Okay.
That's why I said the more access to more information, because from the
Facts.
description, when you have children that are drowned and a mother that's shot, that meant that the mother could have been or may have been withholding information under the torture of her children.
And now, real fast before we go in there, elaborate if you don't mind.
If in the world of a criminal, if I wanted something from you,
Okay.
which would be my purpose of accosting you, then I'm going to do whatever it takes to pry that from you. And the only value that children have in that instance is that she had some information or possession of something that person or those people wanted. Because a man that's been physically, emotionally, and involved with her, that's a whole total different type of angst, anger, and malice.
Okay.
So when you're looking at the children, bro, that's a big descript as to what may have happened. And that's why I said until more information, of course, is given to the light of the subject, then we'll get a clear understanding. Our inclination
Okay.
of thought to be a little bit clearer.
All right. So speaking on that, and this is Grunt and Groan, let's do it in the old school way. Back in our days, did we see any of that or those type of? Do you remember? Now they did go on, but the more we
Right.
see in this era, and I know because this is a new era, but still from our era, because we speaking from our era, did we see that, or there was no kids involved, no matter what domestic dispute or missile or mishaps you had with whatever or whomever?
Right. Culturally, it wasn't permitted. However, it did happen in instances. It's
Okay.
just that now, one, we have a direct exposure to it from the media, and two, we have become a more desensitized society towards horror, gore, and decadence and death.
I like that. That's so true. I think you hit that on the head. I mean, hit that on the head when you say that. Again, a lot of times the morale, like they used to say, like I tell people, home training. So again, home training only comes from home. So a lot of these kids that act out, either lack thereof or the influence of. That's just my opinion. But like you say, everybody has adapted to this thing called what we call violence and things that do bodily harm to people on a daily basis. And we
But you
call that
said something
normality.
key. You said something key right there, though. You said it starts with home training.
Yes.
Today, the difference today versus when we were raised is that social engineering has turned homes into houses and apartments. So we don't have homes no more
I
because a
like
home
that.
has a
I
family
like that.
structure, order, and discipline.
I
And with a
like
family
that.
structure, order, and discipline, laws are enforced that create in culture a certain type of person, a certain type of being. And remember, in a home, the one thing that makes a home is godliness.
That's
So
right.
we have missed we have these elements that are missing that make us who we should be and who we are. And a home is the start. And we have now taken home out of our social order because everyone is doing themselves. Hence, we get these type of situations where this sister has been exposed and her children has been made vulnerable to the wicked machinations of society, and we don't know who did it because of the malicious manner in which they were murdered.
Murder.
So
Yeah. I
it's
like that.
a hurtful thing at the same
Mm,
time of us realizing it.
I like that.
If you're human, you're one that has compassion for life. That is to be humane. And if you're a human, which is the physical functioning active representative of being humane, the human, then you should have a heart that hurts for such of atrocity, but also a mind that's designed to begin to be proactive to prevent it from happening again.
That's real talk. Let's keep going. I like this.
While looking through Brandy's acquaintances, it did not take long for officers to come across Henry Segura, a married man who was involved in an extramarital relationship with the victim. In fact, Brandy shared her son, Javante Segura, with Henry. However, he refused to have anything to do with Javante, and although he was ascertained to be his father, Henry had frequent altercations with Brandy as she tried to get the child support she was owed, about $20,000.
Okay. So there you go, right there. Like you said, subjected the other kids. So the one son, he owed all his money and back child support, but at the end of the day, was he already there were already a pattern, like you were saying. And to the point where that pattern became, I guess, the abnormal.
That pattern became the normal.
Come on. Come
You
on, man.
feel me? And once again, as the more we hear, the more incentive that we hear that's being given, that's being taken by the situation. See, that 20,000 now places him as a possible culprit.
Facts. Mm, damn. Let's keep going. I like this.
In the process, they pulled Henry's phone records and realized that he was present in Brandy's house at the time of her murder. On the other hand, the show mentions that Brandy's blood was too strong to allow the extraction of foreign DNA from the crime scene. However, upon testing the samples gathered, the forensic lab was unable to rule out Henry's involvement in the murder. Regardless, he still insisted on his innocence and claimed that he left the house before the murders.
I'm gonna stop right there. So what you think about that? Do you think that he left the house? Now they pinged him there, but he said he left the house right before the murder happened. What do you think? What's your opinion so far? Now, again, he's innocent until proven guilty. We don't know the whole end of the story, y'all. We want to let y'all know we're going by it bit by bit with y'all. This on the fly.
Yeah, I think it's convenient that he's it's quite convenient. It's real convenient that he's not there right after. right after it happens.
Okay, I like that, and that's what I'm saying. So let's keep going, y'all. I like this.
Thus, as Henry confessed to being present at the crime scene and the police had enough forensic evidence to connect him to the slaying, they arrested him and charged him with murder. Once produced in court, Henry Segura pleaded not guilty. However, his first trial in 2017 ended in a deadlock and was judged to be a mistrial.
So I'm gonna stop right there. Why do you think that, Ja? I'm curious. Just so far, we don't know everything, y'all, but I want to hear how how we're playing it out. Because again, we're coming from our perspective of old folks. We don't watch the news. We just hear it. We riding around in the neighborhood and somebody told us your boy did that. Now y'all got to understand the neighborhood know everything. The old folks know stuff before the news know it. So if you heard that sitting around the house, what would you think? Again, as an old person.
See, what people don't realize is this. Everything is made up in particles. So regardless of what happens, it's going to happen in pieces before it happened. And perhaps people just didn't pay attention to the pieces while it was happening.
Okay, give me an example of what you might have could have. We just again old folks, you know, we sitting around, baby. Well, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, I don't know now, Ja, like what you think might have happened. You know, but you know, we heard such and such, such and such. So if you was an old person and you sitting around like they call it the shade tree, we sitting under the shade tree. Niggas be, man, I'm sorry, we got old folk that be sitting around under the shade tree. So as old folks sitting under the shade tree,
sitting under the
what
shade
would be
tree.
one of the speculation?
And this is one of the speculation. See, that boy, he was trying to get out of paying that woman that money. Damn shame he went and did that. Or that boy owed some people some money and they came and did that.
Come on, man.
See, or you know, we say the children were drowned and she was shot maliciously. So I'm not sure if we have the exact evidence of her wounds, whether they were self-inflicted, which is another scenario, because a mother would give the mercy, she would give the mercy of drowning the children rather than shooting them.
Right, but listen to this though. That is a truth that I like that angles, but at the same time, that angle is she lost her life, and I understand you said self-inflicted, but
yeah.
So I see what you're saying. If we're playing devil's advocate, you playing off the guy. You're saying he saw not only his son, but the other kids could have been in the tub, and he reacted to her.
Well, that's another scenario.
See, that's another scenario. That's what I'm saying. I like the way you're going with this because my thing is this. My thing is how he said he didn't do it, but they pinged his phone right before then. So the question would be is, like you said, did they argue? There's another question. What was their argument before then? And then he stormed out. But they also said before that they had problems. Remember? Let me go back. Let me make sure I heard this.
Right.
And I want to say shout out to my team for helping me build these videos too. Shout out to my team.
Anyone would hurt a loving mother and 3 innocent children. Brandy Peters was a loving mother of 3 who was quite close to her loved ones. Her children, 6-year-old twins Tamaya and Tanaya Peters, as well as 3-year-old Javante Segura, were.
So we know Javante was his. That was his. So the twins. So how old was the twins? See, that could have caused a problem too. Let's go back. Let me hear what
the twins were 6. The twins were 6.
And how? Okay, so
I believe they were 6. Yeah.
That's
3 years apart.
So, oh wow.
Loved ones.
Okay.
Her children, 6-year-old twins Tamaya and Tanaya Peters, as well as 3-year-old Javante Segura, were the apple of her eye, and she was ready to put their needs and wants before everything else. Described as someone kind-hearted, generous, and lively, Brandy was adored by her community and is missed to this very day. One of Brandy's neighbors called her up on November 20th, 2010, but was left concerned when the mother of three did not pick up the phone. There were blood splatters all over, and it looked like someone went on an enraged, frenzied murder spree. While Brandy and Tamaya were shot to death, Tanaya and Javante were drowned. However, the bodies of all three kids were found in a bathtub while their mother lay nearby. While looking through Brandy's acquaintances, it did not take long for officers to come across Henry Segura, a married man who was involved in an extramarital relationship with the victim. In fact, Brandy shared her son, Javante Segura, with Henry. However, he refused to have anything to do with Javante, and although he was ascertained to be his father, Henry had frequent altercations with Brandy as she tried to get the child support she was owed, about $20,000.
Okay, so they constantly argue. So he was still coming around knowing she was arguing with him? What you think about that, Ja?
Yep. Why wouldn't? When you have his son. You already got his son.
I know that, but what I'm saying is, if he owing the bread, do you think he not knowing he owing the bread, or he's scared that she gonna tell on him? Like that mean
he know every man that owes child support know they owe. She ain't gotta say nothing. The court's gonna make sure they know that.
Right, exactly.
Court's gonna make sure you know that.
So
That's
so
not
what
gonna
I'm
be
saying is, do you think that? But what I'm saying, do you think that bothered him, or maybe she might have threw that in his face?
Well, I mean, that she's always throwing that in his face. That's every conversation. You got his son, and if he owed 20 racks, and that child support, then they both been know that, and he's still sleeping with her.
So you think he still was, and then every time they get to arguing, she probably brought that up.
Well, of course that was always a part of an argument, but her whole thing was security. See, she was allowing him to do whatever he was doing because remember he's married.
Yeah, plus he was married.
Right.
Yeah, he married.
Remember he's married. So and it comes back to us educating our daughters, our sisters, bro. And how to pick and choose a man, because that's a dangerous situation. And fathers are responsible to teach their daughters by example of what a man is and how to pick a man and how to interact with a man and all of those things. That's why fathers are so important for the development of a daughter. However,
that's real talk.
Yeah, and you know, my daughter's husband would be afraid to do that to her. That's another purpose and factor also, for a father. So when we look at the scenario,
think about before then, the other two kids, maybe because of how he met her, maybe he kicked it with her. It was just a kicking thing. I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't him, and perhaps he was the proper father to the family. Because remember, he has a son those were his sisters, his son's sisters, as well as his pseudo daughters. Because if they were 3 years old when his son was born, then he was with her for at least a year or 18 months prior, at the very least, with her and the girls. See, they just became 6. You feel me? So they weren't true. 6 a while ago. They just became 6.
It was 3.
And they became 6.
They
became 6 in the 3 years that his son was born. They were 3 when he was born. So they just became 6. So that's why I said my emotional aspect of thinking first went that way before I could even surmise, what happened. Damn, 3 children and a woman got murdered. You feel me? And some people might not even look another eye at it, but in reality, I always look at things, bro, and I was taught to look at things with a self-accusing spirit. So if something happens to someone, I put myself in that position before I even give any thought of reaction of judgment to it. You feel me? That's why people always saying
That's
I'm the
real.
Johnny Cochran. I'm always taking up for somebody. No, I've been humbled by experience
No,
and
you're right. Cause
lessons.
yeah,
You
you're
feel
like
me?
that as far as
Yeah,
you give everybody one thing I can say about you, give everybody the benefit of the doubt no matter what.
bro.
Unless you see everything for what it is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Unless that person is maliciously ignorant, then
yeah,
that's guess what, bro? That's the lesson that you're gonna learn, and that's the sacrifice and the suffrage you're gonna have to endure for being willfully
no, that's
ignorant.
real.
You feel me? But
No,
at the
that's
end of the
real.
day, at the end of the day, you got to be who you got to be, and I got to be who I got to be. But we
That's
have to
right.
take care of each other, and that's why somebody found her. But defending her, you can't save a person from themselves.
Mm,
Feel me?
I like that. I like that. You cannot
Right?
save somebody from themselves if they don't
Yeah,
want to be saved. That's
yeah.
true. All right, let's keep going. I like that.
In the process, they pulled Henry's phone records and realized that he was present in Brandy's house at the time of her murder. On the other hand, the show mentions that Brandy's blood was too strong to allow the extraction of foreign DNA from the crime scene.
All right, my
However,
brother.
upon testing the samples gathered, the forensic lab was unable to rule out Henry's involvement in the murder. Regardless, he still insisted on his innocence and claimed that he left the house before the murders. Thus, as Henry confessed to being present at the crime scene and the police had enough forensic evidence to connect him to the slaying, they arrested him and charged him with murder. Once produced in court, Henry Segura pleaded not guilty. However, his first trial in 2017 ended in a deadlock and was judged to be a mistrial. Although speculations about a drug cartel being responsible for the quadruple murder made the rounds before Henry's second trial, he was ultimately found guilty of 4 first-degree murder charges. Well, there you have it. What do you think? Did he do it? They also said he was married? Did the cartel get involved? No DNA and a lot of other questions. Did he have another phone? Thank you for joining another Grunt and Groan.
All right. So what you think there, Doc? So cartel base. Do you think he had another phone? How did he get charged with those quadruples after the fact?
Right. It's like they charged him twice. They had a deadlock the first time, then you
See what
charge
I'm
him
saying?
again. But where does the evidence to create a new base to charge him again unless you just
That's
dupe
what I'm
something up in
saying.
order to satisfy the outcry of the public, which has become
See,
another
this
factor
what I'm
in
listen, this
injustice.
is this listen, this why this was a crazy story because bro, he don't okay, I wanted to ask you, and maybe you might know, and maybe the people put it in the comments, y'all. I notice a pre-recording or upload. What did they mean when they said her blood was too strong
Well,
to see if what does that mean? Like she had thick blood? Like I don't know what that means.
what you mean when he said they were
Based off
speaking
the
about the DNA identification factor?
yep, let's see.
Samples
Yeah, hold on, let's
gathered,
see.
the forensic lab was unable to rule out Henry's involvement in the murder. Regardless
Hold on. There
that
you
he
go.
was present in Brandy's house at the time of her
There you go.
murder. On the other hand, the show mentions that Brandy's blood was too strong to allow the extraction of foreign DNA from the crime scene.
So what does that mean?
That means there was too much wherever there wasn't any evidence or a possible evidence. First
Mm-hmm.
of all, they found no real evidence. First of all, wherever there was a possibility of the evidence, her blood was so splattered everywhere, so heavy in the concentration
Mm.
of the crime scene that they couldn't extract anyone else's blood or
Wow.
DNA.
So it was bad then. It's like it. I mean that's why I'm
Yeah,
saying they.
yeah. Depending on the caliber that you get
Yeah.
shot with and the proximity that you get shot with, that's
But they never
That can,
said.
yeah,
So did they say she
that can
got
create a
shot?
lot of blood.
I
That can
didn't. I
create a
didn't.
lot of blood spatter.
But I didn't hear them say that she
I
got
got
shot.
Yeah, she and the daughter got shot. Her
Okay.
and
All
one of
right.
the twins got shot. The other two were drowned, but they put the other
Oh, that's
baby.
right. That's
That's
right.
why I
That's
said it
right.
should. That's why I said it's a possibility, a very, very large possibility that it's another outside entity.
So okay. So one of the questions that was asked was, "Do you think it was cartel based? It was it another side of him that we just didn't know?" Because for me, it just makes it seem like if it, like you said, if it was an outside entity, and I don't think it had nothing to do with what he owed, because like you said, it was 3 years that he was with her. Maybe he didn't even know that he owed that. Maybe that was just something they threw in there. But why would they bring up some cartel base, but then they turn around and charge him? That's why I'm confused, right? I don't
You're
understand why they
right.
charged him.
Because one thing about it, I know that child support will do that. They will charge you, and you don't know personally until you either get arrested or you do get the notice.
So he wouldn't
You
have
feel
had
me?
no I right. So he wouldn't have had no idea unless she knew. I don't think it had, like you said. But again, what if he didn't do it? You got a cell phone there, and then he said he wasn't there. So
Right.
you saying somebody could have possibly took his cell phone
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna tell
was
you on.
there?
I'm gonna tell you on some grown ish.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Think of
Yeah,
this.
on
We
Grunt
under
and
the
Groan. We
shade.
on Grunt and Groan.
We under the shade tree. You feel me?
Yeah, we're on the
So
shade tree right
I'm
now.
gonna say it for what it is. Just think, if anybody was looking for him, they would have went to her because in the hood, she's his baby mama.
Come on, man.
She's not the wife, or she's the wife in
Yeah,
the hood.
they
Because the
wouldn't they
hood,
would that's
they
right,
wouldn't
because
know
they wouldn't
about the
even
wife.
know. Yeah, they wouldn't
Right,
know about
right.
it. He wouldn't be living there.
They
That's
know about the
right. Come
baby
on.
mama though, and that's why they went there.
Yes. Yes.
See, that's why I said
That
that
makes sense.
he right. Yeah, it's some foul play. However, whether you did it or you didn't do it, the reason that they're dead is connected to you.
And you know what? They might have took him to that house. Maybe they might have caught him there. You see what I'm saying? Like in the hood, they be like,
Yeah,
"Oh, there he go his car."
yeah.
Pulled
And,
up
and, she,
on him,
and
and
her
he
and the
had to
children were
leave.
the witness. And her
And
and
they
the
might
children were the
look, and they
witness.
might have told right, and they might have told him, "Hey, you need to leave." And he probably left from there.
Nah,
And he probably was saying, "Huh?
no,
Go
no.
ahead."
They probably there are so many scenarios to that.
Yep.
But
Fact.
but but they could have been the witness to any
Mm,
confrontation that he has had. You understand?
that's true.
Like
That's
if we
true.
looking for you, and we come to your house, and now you know I'm looking for you, and I'm following you, I just missed you because you was just at the house. Okay, then he might
Okay,
been
I see
doing
what you're saying. I see
because
what you're saying.
real talk.
We
If you
just
doing
miss you.
dirt in the street,
We just miss you in a split second.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we just missed him, but we gonna get you. See, or you can't tell us where he went. See, all of those scenarios play out because I'm looking at the forensic factors. Where
Of
does
all
logic
that, like you
play
said,
forensically?
that's why I asked you at first was like, what did they mean by it was so much there, so much
Right,
there that they couldn't
right.
pick it up. Like you said, that was almost like, again, allegedly, this is what we're saying for you, allegedly. It could have that person could have been tortured in all types of fashion.
Now we know what a crime of passion is, right?
Right.
So a crime of passion is when we're involving the activity of another partner, and that don't exist. It's not her, the kids, and another man was found there. See,
Mm, I like that.
so
I
so
like that.
of
I
a
can't hear you. I
passion.
can't hear you.
Also,
You went in the matrix. You in the matrix.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What did you
Can you hear
say
me now?
before?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Also, What cancels that out is when a crime of passion is taking place, the person is guilty of the crime confesses when they come to the realization of what has happened. Because remember, crime of passion is only labeled as temporary insanity in the court.
I didn't know
So
that. I
that
did not
yeah,
know that.
that happens when you are so so grief stricken, so struck with a shock of the moment that you react in the natural, violent fashion. Because it's naturally to be violent when you find a man on top of your woman or another woman in the bed with your man. It's a natural
Right.
reaction. There's no
Fact.
animal, there's no mammal that doesn't react and behave in that manner. So we can strike out a crime of passion because psychologically that evidence isn't there. The behavioral patterns, the behavioral traits aren't there for you to say that it was a crime of passion. What you can say that it was so malicious that it was a crime, one, it was a murder, one, of a criminal element that needed to be hidden, or two, of such disdain, such malice towards a person that, you know, it's incomprehensible. Like, that's why I said my first reaction was the heart to the children. Like, you mean to tell me somebody took their time to kill them children and
Fact.
there's no value? There's no value to it. Like, there's no value in killing your son for $20,000.
Facts.
You feel me, bro? Like, there's no value in that.
Nah,
So
it makes more under the shade
yeah,
tree. It makes more
and now he
sense.
has 4 bodies. So whether he did it or not, one, you left too soon. Two, you played with a woman's life that cost her life.
Facts.
Because if you didn't want that woman, you should have left her alone. You could tell that she was an upstanding woman because she had 2 children.
I like that. And you know what? You said something also deep is the fact that he having these
Get me?
bodies on
She
him.
was at
You know what I'm
least she was at least a woman of integrity.
Yeah,
She was at least a
and he
woman of
having these
integrity.
bodies on him. Look at it from this point of view. If it was somebody outside entity that he owed money, he ain't gonna say nothing because while he in there, he can be put himself
Yeah.
more in harm inside there than he is outside. People don't understand that.
Well, we also got to recognize too that the price has been paid in that world. When I kill
Fact.
your family, the price is paid because you played it in blood. See? So, like I said, whether it was at his hand or not, he was at fault, which is why he doing those years for those bodies.
Oh, that's real. Man,
Yeah, and
that's
yeah,
crazy, man. Like you said, man,
that's
RIP, and it was in 2010, and that was a old thing that I watched
yeah,
it. I watched
yeah,
this little
yeah,
show on it, and it blew my mind
yep.
because it's still in the air, like you say. We still don't know. It's one, and like I said, I'm gonna bring a lot of these, man.
Those
To the
girls would
table.
have been approaching college graduation right now.
I ain't think about that. Wow, yeah, 13 years after, it'd be
Yeah, yeah,
19. Yep,
yeah.
or
They would have been
graduate,
approaching. They would have been approaching graduation right now.
or get ready for college.
Yeah.
And even
They
his
would
child,
they would have been yeah,
his child would have been getting
his
his
child would have
license.
been graduating and from high school.
No, he would have been 16, right? His son was 3.
He'd have been graduating from high school.
Well, no, you graduated at 18.
Yeah. Right. No, he graduated 17.
There. Maybe here
Right.
is
He would
18.
have been he would have been in his senior year, approaching his senior year.
Facts. Yeah, he'd be
See?
17 going in
Yeah,
18.
because that's technically 14 years looking at it in time. Because this 2023 and that was 2010 and 2023 is almost over in 4 or 5
That's
months.
true.
You
You know
feel me?
what? That's a deep thought. I never thought about that. When we say
Yeah.
our kids graduate at 18, technically they don't
Nah.
because it's not a whole
Right.
year. It's not a
I
whole year.
graduated at 17
Yeah.
because I graduated 16 because I was skipped from the second to the fourth in school. So
Facts.
I graduated at 16. I was always younger than everybody in school. Well, in my class, you know. So those children would have been entering their adolescent stages of development to adulthood, and someone snatched that from them.
That's a fact.
And the only common denominator, the only X factor to the exponent is him. There's nobody else connected to the family unless she was involved with something that created that type of malice from something.
Okay, I'm gonna do a shade tree thing, and we ain't thought of it. We ain't never thought about it. Could have been the wife's family member.
Yeah. But well, I don't think the wife's family member would have been. Nah, they wouldn't have killed his son.
I mean, think about it. The
Remember,
family
his
member could
son
have been.
was killed. His
Yeah,
3-year-old son was killed.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, it's a whole different. If the wife wanted something to happen to somebody, she
Maybe
would have
she was there.
specifically
Maybe she could have been there
was
now.
once again a crime of passion. So how is she going to kill her husband's son?
Yeah,
It's his son. Think about this. Think about this. The woman that he had that son by wasn't no fly by night chick,
right.
bro. She had one encounter of children with a man on record by those 6-year-old girls.
Yeah,
The
that's
only
true.
other encounter she had on record is him,
Yeah,
3-year-old son. And then she only had one child by him. When normally a woman would have what when they're loose and ignorant in their way?
or a
They would have
bunch of them.
multiple children.
There'll be a
They would
bunch
have
of them.
multiple children by him. You feel me, bro? Or by the person prior. That wasn't her. So that means there was structure there. And he frequented that environment.
No, I like that. That's real
Yeah.
talk.
Which is why somebody knew he was either there, belonged there, or lived there, and knew that was there belonged to him. Now that's the only scenario that I can see now, knowing that those children were left in the bathtub. You can't get fingerprints or any residue off of the skin. Once those layers of skin start separating, the 7 layers of skin start separating, which what happens when water is condensed in the skin to that point, you can't get evidence from that. Blood don't hold, oil don't hold, nothing holds. You feel me? So they placed him in the tub for that purpose. And whoever killed her clean. If the only DNA that they can even surmise or think of, and just think, how did he get convicted when he was already at the house? So what evidence was there to convict him? Get
See,
me?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like what evidence you got to convict me when I just left the house? So the only evidence you have is me being at the house. And the blood splatter was so heavy, so concentrated, that there was no other probable evidence, no forensic evidence probable, then how does that place him as the murderer? Which is something that his appeal will address, or may have failed to be successful in addressing. Because once you get the socially emotional decision or judgment placed on, people start judgment based upon their emotion, then they don't have no evidence. They just know somebody got to pay for the lives, which is
That's
true,
true.
but it doesn't mean that he did it.
That's right. That's right. No, you're
And that's
right.
where our courts are flawed, or that's where our judgment or our conclusion is flawed based upon our, amount or presentation of evidence that's been given. Perhaps if we've been given every exhibit in the court, we can find another factor to involve him or implicate him. However, at the very least, he's implicated because it's his household. And somebody, speaking from a grown standpoint, Nigga, that's your baby mama, bro. And you're supposed to take care of her, bro. Or she's the reason that she's not here is because of you. And because of that, he may be comfortable doing that time for those 4 lives. I know I would be so grief stricken that I would be comfortable during the time because the only thing I can do is kill myself because I can't kill those who kill them because one, I know who it is and the reason they killed them because I couldn't kill them prior, or two, I know who it is and I know what I owe. And this is what I owe.
No, that's real because you, like you said, man, he got to live with that fact, and at the end of the day, he can't do
Forever.
he can't do nothing about it, bro. He can't do nothing absolutely about it, and he's stuck in a situation that he gonna have to live with that forever. And like you say, regardless, not only did they did that, like you said, it was somebody that not only did it was the domino effect. Not only did he lose that son, you got to remember he also we don't know, what he had, as far as his family.
Yeah.
Who
He
who
didn't
who
kill him.
was his family?
He didn't
Like, you
kill
know
him
what I'm
though.
saying? No, I
I
know
just
that,
thought
but I'm
about that. He
saying,
didn't kill him.
but nah,
You know
he couldn't
why?
because
Because you
again, he
killed
had a family.
yourself. Yeah, you
That's right.
you kill yourself when you kill your son. And he wanted his son.
Well, think
See, there
about
was
it.
no
Think about it.
abortion, there was
Even
no none of
even
that.
on the what? Well, I found out that he had kids, 2 kids from his wife. So he had
Right.
2 kids. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
he would have lost that and then some other, and they said they asked him, I think it was in the interview, they asked him, did he have other kids? And he said he did previously before he got married. So he did have somebody. That's why I said, like when you said the hood thing, it made sense that he was out there messing around in the hood and
Yeah.
somebody he owed some people some bread.
They came looking for you, looking for him. And the hood told him, and his baby mama lived right there. And
That's
that's where
crazy.
they found out where he go at. And when you go where the heart is at, bro. And the heart is in the home. Remember I told you that structure. And she was proper. She wasn't no Lucy. You feel me? So he was
No, you're right.
portraying the home. He was playing that home element. That's why he owed 20,000 and it wasn't no stress.
Yeah, that's why when they threw that in there, I think they threw that in there based off the fact is they was because he wasn't, like you say, he wasn't speaking or saying nothing, so they had to go off. Well, maybe that's what, and he probably even said it because he looking at it like, man, my life, and that was a selfish way of him looking at it. Probably like, man, I
Yeah.
owe all these people this money. Yeah, and I'd rather go to prison before I four quadruple murder, man, that's crazy,
Almost.
bro. That's crazy, man. But yeah, man. Well, I'm glad my guy Ja came on here. I'm gonna drop this real fast, and then I'm gonna have
You
Ja
already
say
know, my
something.
brother.
But I wanna do this to salute the Ja, and this is what I'm gonna start doing moving forward for everybody to come in and show love. So I'm gonna drop this.
Please follow. Jami and Cross want to say thank you for coming on the show. Please follow Ja on the banner and follow and subscribe to his channel. And salute Cross and the Grunt and Groan show.
There it is. So I want to say salute to
There
John,
it
man.
is,
Y'all,
man.
yeah. Y'all follow him on the banner, man. We want to say salute to everybody that's gonna tap in. Y'all share this content.
Without a
Ja,
doubt.
I want you to say something before we
Yes,
get out of
sir.
here, man.
Hey, man, all I want to say, man, is that we've been living our lives for the purpose of getting things. I would like to just say, let's live our lives for the purpose of being human. Just have some compassion, love, and heart for everyone until a person is not deserving of such, and then be willing to walk away, not give more of what you've already given to them. Be willing to just grunt about it, and being grunting is showing that you've grown. So just grunt about the stuff that you can't be grown about while being grown. That's all I wanted to say to my people. Peace.
Man, I love that, man. That's right, man. You know what? Don't grunt about it. Just be grown, dog. And that's what the grunt and groan is about, dog. We stay grown and we can have dialect and we can grunt about it all day. We ain't into, like I said again, ain't no need to argue. We old and we tired. We like to take naps. We like to do stuff that other folks might not like to do. But at the same
Sit up
time,
under the shade tree.
yeah. We get up under the shade too. We like to grunt a lot, bro. But you know, we keep it grown. And I want to
Eh,
thank
eh,
Ja.
Hey man,
Go
that's
ahead.
right. We only grunt, bro. We got the right to grunt because we're grown. When you're
Come
too
on,
young to
man.
know and understand, and you haven't experienced and gained wisdom, which is time and experience, then you really can't grunt because you ain't grown. Around here, we got
There
the
it
right to
is.
grunt because we grown.
And on that note, I want to say thank you, Ja. Man, y'all make sure you comment, subscribe, share. I appreciate y'all. Peace.